think that when creativity happens, it happens sort of magically, and that there are either really highly structured sort of traditional environments, or there are creative environments where you don't have to put any structure on it. But with design thinking, what we're saying is that there's a highly structured environment that fosters creativity.
It gets you hands-on experience. It gets you to actually see and not just see from a seat. It gets you involved in the problem and helping it build a solution.
Students stop what they're doing, and we call those stop, drop, and design days, and they work on the design challenges.
We basically are given a question, and then we have to come up with all of these solutions to answer that question.
In the 9th grade, the quarter 4 challenge is how might we ensure our community has access to healthy, clean water.
We have been incorporating the topic of water in all of math, English, social studies, and science. And in math, we just started on volume because we're dealing with water now. So they're learning all these volume equations. And by the end of the quarter, they're going to end up measuring how much rainwater comes into a certain area over a period of time. We have a 9th grade team meeting every other Monday, so during those times we'll talk about issues going on in 9th grade, and then the closer it gets to stop, drop, design, we'll start focusing more on, okay, so what experiences do we want our kids to have? First day of the design challenge, we pass out packets and we pass out journals to the students.
We got interview questions here, and then we got some answers that they gave us. And then this is like the insight of like what we saw and what we know.
It's very important for them to know the steps, to have that structure.
I know all the steps, and I really do think it's important.
The phases that we teach and that we talk about are empathy, define, ideate, prototype, feedback, and reflect.
It then gives them the structure that they need to come up with these ideas that can go beyond the structure.
It just becomes like a nature for you.
During the empathy phase, we want to get students out into the community, into the field, learning about the problem or issue at hand. And we want to provide experiences for them that give them a hook into that have them start to care about the issue. And particularly to develop empathy for a particular person or group of people that have a perspective or have some experience with that issue.
Empathy is basically putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and just seeing how would your user feel about a certain situation.
The teacher should have the students go out instead of just being in one classroom doing a project. They should go out and interact with other people.
Have the kids go places that have to do with the design challenge.
Or going outside the school and questioning, going to a building, asking about their water crisis or something, or anything that they feel like might help them with their project.
So they can get moving and learn stuff, the hands-on and stuff like that.
Hook that gets students interested in a particular problem and gives them a place to sort of land and a user to think about.
You have to design for the specific need of the user.
And the tank is filled with bacteria, and we're going to use the bacteria to eat the organics.
We stopped and talked to a chemist.
Has there ever why is the plants growing inside
We stopped and talked to the guy who runs the control panel.
First thing we have are the screens.
If someone asks a question and you can build off of their question at the plant, then build off of their question. We prep them beforehand. Get them to write out questions first. If we just took them there and they didn't have any questions already written, then it would be hard for them just to come up with questions off the top of their head.
Exactly how many stages are there to the water cycle?
At this point, there's 3.
The sewage products that we use for cleaning and unclogging sinks and toilets and stuff, we can definitely use non-toxic solutions to help preserve the earth and the water.
A keynote presentation just on the water crisis, and we're going to talk about the water crisis in India and in Africa, because there was a few teachers here that went to those places and then they talked about it. They talked to us about it.
My sense is from talking with the students that they're going to land with the people in Africa that they saw in the Jay-Z video. That was the most compelling thing. There was a sense of, why should we have fresh water if those people don't?
Today is the day I announced that I'm working with the UN to bring awareness to the world's water crisis.
The video we saw was the Water for Life. It was about the Water for Life Foundation, but it was about Jay-Z.
And on my first world tour, I saw firsthand what it's like to be without this precious resource. In Luanda, Angola, I met Bella, who showed me how her family survives on only 2 small buckets of water a day, and how she passed open sewers just to get to school.
In the video, it was a girl named Bella. She was around our age, and she had to go for 4 hours to go look for water. And so it impacted me in the drive of the question because like she was my age, and I was just basically, you know, saying how would it feel to be her.
Actions, what you heard, feelings, thoughts, and what are their thoughts? What do you think that they're thinking? So it's all user-centered, not any of us centered.
Get sticky notes, write down anything you want, whether it's crazy, it can be anything, and you can just stick it up on the board.
10 minutes, as much as you can, remember, or from notes that you took at the plant, or things that you remember from the article, the Jay-Z clip, one idea per sticky note.
Take the knowledge that we already know, put it on paper, plus what we learned today from the Waterworks plant. What I heard right here from everybody and the actions, put ourselves in our users' shoes, seeing their actions, what we heard from them, their feelings, and then their thoughts. Just put all the posters on the board, like in the category they're in, like come together as a group and just look at what, you know, each person in our group had to say about each category.
The chemist's actions. What do they do in that room? Does that make sense? And then you could do each category for every single person that we talked about. The chemist, the control panel worker, the tour guide, the woman in Africa, Jay-Z. You could do that for every single one. So that's how, I mean, you can end up generating so much more. Does that make sense?
So in the define stage, the students are taking all of the ideas, the things that they've learned in their interviews, their research, their observations, and doing a lot of synthesis, talking amongst each other about what's most important, and then using that conversation to define a user and their need and an insight about that user and that need. So we call that a problem statement or a user need statement.
She go get water for like 4 hours because it's a long trip. We go to school for 8. We're in school for 8 hours. So she's up here doing all that half when we're in school. Half that she could be sitting here doing something like learning, reading a book, you know, something educated. So
Needs. What are the different things this girl or this woman needs? And do needs to what? Needs to 2 or 3.
Needs a better source to find clean water, a water solution, and help to find better water.
Great. Being dedicated.
Young.
Working, dedicated, very young.
Okay, we're trying to figure out, define a problem statement using how might we, but we have to have an adjective, a username, needs, and then a verb action, and then is it because, and we explain why does they need that. So right now our user is young, working, educated, dedicated, Diana needs, and then we have to come up with a verb and explain why we chose that. Diana is a tall, African, skinny teenager, and she's providing water from a distance from her home for her family.
It's really important to hit on that specific need, so that because it's actually easier to design when you're designing for a specific need.
And we decided to go with her as our user because, for one, we could put ourselves in her shoes because we're African Americans, we're females, so we do go through struggles, but not as bad as her struggles. So we feel like she shouldn't have to go through the stuff that she has to go through.
Once all the notes are on the board, you're going to take time to review the notes and start seeing connections between things or patterns that you see. So if everybody in your group said the same thing, then maybe that's an area that you should focus on.
Our point of view statement was young, working, dedicated Diana needs to get healthy, clean, fresh water for her family because of the lack of clean water in her community.
During the ideate stage, they flare back out again. They generate as many ideas as possible, wild and crazy ideas, off of the one how might we, or the series of how might we questions that they come up with during the define stage.
If you give up and give them the answer or give them the how might we or the solution, then they're just gonna always wait on you to give them the answer. So just, be patient with them and keep talking them through it because they will rise to that expectation.
Ideate is basically just taking your ideas and just like putting them on the board and stuff like that. Like just coming up with like different ideas in your head and as a group, come together.
From the videos we've seen with Jay-Z, the little girl, the lady in Detroit, and basically just putting ourselves in their shoes and like how we should be able to help them. The picture is like giving a visual of what we see from our point of view.